the last queen of Egypt, the woman who changed the fate of Rome, and a ruler who influenced the two most powerful men of the ancient world. She was the last hope of a collapsing civilization. Cleopatra is often remembered for her beauty, but her true power was not her beauty. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria in 69 BCE, but she was not ethnically Egyptian, as many people believe. Cleopatra was a member of the Ptolemaic dynasty, established after the death of Alexander the Great. This dynasty ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. Rome was rising, while Egypt struggled to survive. Cleopatra was only 18 when her father died. According to tradition, she ascended the throne, together with her younger brother. Sibling marriage was common in the Ptolemaic dynasty. This situation quickly turned into a civil war. Cleopatra was removed from the throne. At that moment, Julius Caesar arrived in Egypt. Cleopatra made one of the boldest political moves in history. Legend says she entered the palace hidden inside a carpet. This was not just a dramatic entrance. Cleopatra gained Caesar's support. With his help, she returned to the throne. This event changed not only the fate of Egypt, but also the future of Rome. From this union, a child was born, Caesar. But in 44 BCE, Caesar was assassinated in the Senate by a group of senators, including Brutus and Cassius. Cleopatra was once again alone. A new leader emerged in Rome, Mark Antony. Cleopatra formed an alliance with him. This alliance soon became a powerful partnership. Together they formed a major power in the Eastern Mediterranean. 10 years, 2 children, and a plan. Donations of Alexandria. 34 BC, Antony gives the East to Cleopatra's children: Egypt, Syria, Cilicia, Cyprus. This is Roman territory. And Rome is going mad. Octavian is spreading propaganda. Antony is a prisoner of a woman. The East is surrendering to a woman. Cleopatra was Rome's enemy, but the truth is, it was an alliance of two powerful people, and this alliance was a threat. But another leader was rising in Rome, Octavian. Rome was now divided. '31 BC, Actium, Greece, the last war. Cleopatra and Antony. 500 ships, Octavian, 400. But the command is chaotic. Antony is not a sailor. Cleopatra is on board. Why? We don't know. A complete mess. History calls it betrayal. This conflict led to one of the most important naval battles in history, the Battle of Actium. Cleopatra and Antony were defeated. This defeat marked the beginning of the end for Egypt. Octavian was approaching with his armies. Octavian is approaching. Antony commits suicide. Legend says it's upon hearing the news of Cleopatra's death, but the truth is, he was probably wounded in battle. Cleopatra is taken prisoner. Octavian wants to take her to Rome for victory parade, but Cleopatra refuses. because she is a queen, and queens are not chained. Cleopatra refused to be taken prisoner by Rome, and she made the decision that would enter history. Mark Antony believed Cleopatra was dead. After hearing this, Antony wounded himself. Before dying, Antony was brought to Cleopatra. Mark Antony died in Cleopatra's arms. After Antony's death, Cleopatra mourned deeply. Cleopatra locked herself inside the mausoleum to avoid being captured by Octavian. Octavian wanted to take Cleopatra to Rome alive. Cleopatra met Octavian for the last time. Cleopatra shared her final plan with her loyal servants. Cleopatra wished to be buried beside Mark Antony. Cleopatra sent a final letter to Octavian. Cleopatra tried to save her son Caesarion. Cleopatra remained with only her 2 loyal attendants. A basket of figs was brought to Cleopatra. Inside the basket was a cobra. Cleopatra took her own life. 30 BC, August 12th. Cleopatra, 39 years old. She is poisoned. The snake, legend, real, perhaps opium, perhaps a poisoned needle, but the result is the same. The last pharaoh dies, and Caesarion, 17 years old, ascends the throne, but only for 11 days. Octavian kills him, because Caesar's son is a threat. Egypt becomes a Roman province. 3,000 years of pharaohs come to an end. Charmian adjusted Cleopatra's crown and said, "This was a death worthy of a queen." Caesarion was captured and executed. When Roman soldiers entered the chamber, they found Cleopatra dead. Octavian received the news of Cleopatra's death. Cleopatra and Mark Antony were buried together. Egypt was no longer an independent kingdom. Egypt became one of the most important provinces of the Roman Empire. The age of the pharaohs had come to an end. Cleopatra's name continued to be remembered, even 2,000 years later. Cleopatra was not remembered only for her beauty. Cleopatra could speak 9 different languages. Cleopatra was the first Ptolemaic ruler to speak the Egyptian language. Cleopatra was a skilled diplomat. Cleopatra was the last ruler who tried to save her country. Cleopatra's story was not a love story. It was a struggle between empires. Most of what we know about Cleopatra comes from Roman historians. For this reason, Cleopatra's true story is still debated today. Roman historians portrayed Cleopatra as a threat. Cleopatra was not only a queen, but a powerful leader. History remembers not only rulers, but the decisions they made. Cleopatra. History remembers her for her beauty and intrigue, but she was also a diplomat, a linguist, a survivor. He reigned for 22 years. He formed alliances with 2 great Roman leaders, and he maintained control to the very end. Even his death was his own choice, because he was the last pharaoh, and pharaohs don't become slaves. Rome defeated her, but Cleopatra became a legend, and 2,000 years later, we're still talking about her, because she wasn't just a queen, she was the last. The last pharaoh, the first feminist, a legend. Follow the channel to explore world history in chronological order and continue this journey through time with us.